What's up, everybody? Happy Super Bowl Sunday. I hope you're all doing well. If you are new here, then go ahead and subscribe by hitting the big red subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so that you don't miss our future live events and videos. And you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at growtheinfo is our handle, and on our website growtheinfo.com you'll find all kinds of good information and resources for journalists and stuff like that. So, I don't expect us to have a whole bunch of people in here today since the Super Bowl is going to be going on, but I wanted to kind of show you guys some of the stuff that I have seen coming out from a couple companies and from our government regarding the Super Bowl. So, I hope that you are all ready to join me in some press releases and stuff like we usually cover. Around here, we like to support the proliferation of information, and I like to give you guys good, solid information that is verifiable so that you can spread the information, you can grow the info, and have the tools that you need to back up what you're saying. So let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so I'm sure a lot of you guys know. You're going to see me a little bit here. I'm sorry, I got bad lighting, and I'm just in a t-shirt. We're keeping it casual today, but I'm sure a lot of you guys know that they have been implementing more 5G stuff all over the place, right? And this USDA thing is not the first thing that we're going to go over. But with the Super Bowl, it's no exception. They are using this as an opportunity to showcase 5G and its quote-unquote capabilities. Verizon is, I guess, the big one that is partnering with the Super Bowl this year. They have had quite a few ads out about how wonderful 5G is when it comes to sports-related coverage, because you can, zoom into this player or that player and then view all of the stats for them, and then you can see how long the line for the bathroom is and where your car is parked in case you forgot, and all kinds of really creepy stuff that they think, of course, is super cool. But not to be outdone, of course, T-Mobile has come out with its own little gimmicks and stuff that it's doing to try to gather some data. I mean, let's be real here. So we're going to cover that. And the dude, I don't know if you guys remember hearing about this, but there was a dude that was flying a drone around, and he has been arrested. And they were concerned because of Super Bowl week coming up. So we're going to go over that, and we're going to talk about why you're going to be seeing a whole bunch of officers at the Super Bowl. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. And let's go over, first we'll go over the drone related story. So in Miami, Ariana Fajardo-Orshin, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, and George Pirro, Special Agent in charge of the federal FBI in the Miami field, announced that Jorgen Arnaldo Ramos-Terran, 46 of Western Florida, is charged with violating the temporary flight restrictions set up to protect the public during Super Bowl. I don't know my Roman numerals well enough. I don't know what number we're on. And the week leading up to the game. Super Bowl takes place on February 2nd at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. I remember hearing about this. Let me switch to a view so that you guys can see it a little bit better. There we go. Is that better for you guys? I hope that's better for you. The temporary The temporary flight restriction is a regulation that temporarily restricts certain aircraft, including drones, from operating within a defined area in order to protect people or property in the air and on the ground. As part of a comprehensive federal, state, and local law enforcement plan to protect the public and secure the events leading up to and including the Super Bowl, the FAA established temporary flight restrictions on drone and other aircraft flights in Miami Beach. So this guy was flying his drone around, and I mean, if I was somebody with a drone, then I would want to get really cool pictures of the stadium and it being set up and all that kinds of good stuff. So he would definitely have a good reason to be flying the drone. But do you guys think that maybe he had some sort of ulterior motives or something? Because CBP and ICE are going like all out this year. So another quick press release, a Super Bowl All-Star and NCAA Championship counterfeit ticket producer has been sentenced to 4+ years in prison. They have announced that Eugene Smith, 45, of Lithonia, Georgia, was sentenced to 51 months imprisonment after being convicted of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to traffic in counterfeit goods, and trafficking in counterfeit goods. I love how their charges are like conspiracy to do it and doing it. Arising from Smith's leadership role in the production and sale of counterfeit tickets to sporting events, including the National Football League Super Bowl in Houston, the one between the Patriots and the Falcons, and Super Bowl in Minneapolis between the Eagles and Patriots, and NBA game, NCAA, wow, and other sporting events and concerts. The counterfeit tickets bore the authentic trademarks of the respective organization or agency that was registered with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. So they were a legit looking ticket. If you tried to look at them, you know how sometimes there will be videos on how to spot counterfeit goods, and it's like, oh, well, look for the official logo. So this one had the actual official logo, not just like a look-alike, but the official one. Smith targeted events and victims based on profitability. The bigger the event, the bigger the payoff. The scheme involves several steps and multiple players. After determining each event would draw the most profit, Smith provided a real ticket to the event of his printer for use in the production of multiple tickets for the event. Smith would then travel to venues to sell the counterfeit tickets, or he provided the counterfeit tickets to other sellers to resell to unwitting fans. I wonder how much... Okay, the government presented evidence that the face value of the counterfeit tickets printed by Ferguson was at least $170,000, but the government estimated that the actual resale value of the tickets, particularly the Super Bowl tickets, far exceeded their face value. I am not surprised. So they made sure they caught him before this one. Let's see if we have anybody in the chat. No, everybody's probably off watching the Super Bowl with their friends and family. Well, thank you guys. If you watch the replay, thank you for joining. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and turn on bell notifications. And if you could hit the thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. Remember, you guys are the reason why we grow around here. You guys are growing the information. You're helping that happen, not the algorithms. It's you guys. So thank you so much. And remember, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram and check out our website, growtheinfo.com. Alright, so let's go on to the next thing. I wanted to show you what T-Mobile has been saying recently. And I forgot to click on the first one. Okay, so this is the latest one. So this one was before that one. Okay, so this is from T-Mobile, and this is them talking about preparing for the Super Bowl and making their 5G thing bigger. Now, if you follow us here and if you follow our live streams, if you watch the videos that I put out, then you've probably seen me talking about T-Mobile before, and sometimes I will go through these press releases and these emails that they like to send out to their investors. So this was one of them, and I found it on their website, so it's linked down below in the description box if you want to see it. But as I said, Verizon is the big company that's actually, I believe, partnering, with the Super Bowl, or at least they're the ones that are acting like they're there and trying to take control over the 5G situation. Remember, there's been like this whole battle between Sprint and T-Mobile merger that's trying to happen, and Verizon and AT&T being like the other big networks, and they're saying that they can put out 5G, and T-Mobile's like, no, but we have it already. T-Mobile, again, they did put out an email not that long ago saying their 5G networks are on for all of these people, blah, blah, blah. If you guys want a whole nother video on that, on just T-Mobile and what they have been saying, just them by themselves, then go ahead and leave a comment down below if you're watching replay, or, leave a comment in the chat thing or whatever, and let me know, and I will do that for you guys. So, what's the news? Ahead of Super Bowl, T-Mobile amped up its 5G in Miami, adding millimeter wave to its low-band 5G, and rolled out permanent network improvements across the city to get ready for the big game. So far they've been, doing a little bit here, implementing it here and here to make sure that it works. So now they are putting in the permanent measures. Why it matters. I love how they laid this out for me. Nearly 150,000 football fans will come to Miami ready to share and stream a very special moment. Residents and visitors will benefit from the permanent enhancements long after the big game ends. They will benefit from the permanent enhancements after the game. Who it's for? Everyone who lives in or visits Miami for the Super Bowl and beyond. As pro football gets set to crown its latest champion, T-Mobile has put the final touches on its network in Miami to make sure customers have an incredible mobile experience. Over the last year, T-Mobile permanently boosted network capacity at venues throughout Miami so customers can share their game day moments in real time. Again, they boosted the network at venues. T-Mobile and Metro by T-Mobile customers already have the biggest 5G network in Miami, and now customers with capable 5G smartphones can get a speed boost from millimeter wave 5G in places like Hard Rock Stadium and Bayfront Park. With 150,000 people predicted to travel to Miami for Super Bowl events, T-Mobile focused network enhancements where the biggest crowds will be, including the stadium, Miami Beach Convention Center, the park, Miami Beach, Fort Lauderdale airports. Interesting, and almost all the updates are permanent. Almost all the updates are permanent. Let's highlight that if I can. There we go, it worked. Usually I have such an issue with that. So Miami residents and visitors can enjoy the improvements long after the Super Bowl is over. T-Mobile more than doubled LTE capacity at the stadium so customers can stream, tweet, post, and chat about every big moment from the game. To enhance indoor capacity at key venues throughout Miami, T-Mobile built new distributed antenna systems and deployed small cells throughout the city to provide additional performance boosts in places that can be difficult for towers to reach. I'm not saying this. This is them saying this, you guys. Almost all of Miami is covered with T-Mobile's far-reaching low-band 5G and fast LTE. So whether customers watch the game, whether they like it or not, they have 5G. Only T-Mobile has a nationwide 5G network that works for more people in more places. Yes, they are definitely rolling their stuff out. So there's that. Let me know what you guys think about that. Is this the one that, yeah, I think this is the one where they worded it. Yeah, okay, we're going to read this one next too. So this says, tell your mama, T-Mobile's back in Super Bowl, whatever LIV number is. I don't know. Send me back to school. I know more about like Latin words than Roman numerals. I'm sorry. It says mama knows best. I don't know. Whatever. T-Mobile is back in the Super Bowl. Check out Mama Test 5G, starring Golden Globe and 6-time Emmy nominee Anthony Anderson. Okay, so it's some marketing gimmick. Oh, he's pulling in his mom into from the beach to her home in an elevator and beyond. You can have your old people tracked everywhere. Plus, the Uncarrier is giving fans the opportunity to put T-Mobile's nationwide 5G to the test, just like Mama. With the first and only nationwide 5G phone giveaway ever. How nice of them! You guys, they're giving away 5G phones for free. Wow. T-Mobile will give away 5 brand new free Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus 5G smartphones every 5 minutes. So they're giving out 5 every 5 minutes throughout the entire game from kickoff to the final buzzer. Every 5 minutes they will be giving 5 away. So they're giving one out every minute. I don't know why they couldn't say it like that, but okay. Fans can enter every quarter by tweeting. All you have to do is tweet hashtag 5G that works and hashtag contest for a chance to win. And everyone can play, not just T-Mobile customers. How nice of them. Last year, T-Mobile launched America's first and still only nationwide 5G network. The Uncarrier's 5G network covers more than 1 million square miles and reaches over 200 million people. Again, I did cover that previously, so if you want information like that, make sure that you're subscribed because I like to cover these emails when they send them out. Unlike Verizon, 5G that can get blocked by walls, windows, people, and even an umbrella that covers spotty patches of outdoor areas in just 34 cities, T-Mobile 5G provides far-reaching coverage that can go through walls and works indoors and out in more than 5,000 cities and towns. And in parts of 7 urban areas, T-Mobile has millimeter wave 5G for speedy hotspot-like coverage outdoors. That's a lot of cities, 5,000, and it goes through walls and works indoors and outdoors. And remember, Verizon was talking, T-Mobile is saying that they have the best network and, everything, but Verizon was sitting here saying, oh, well, you can check to see how long the line for the bathroom is. You can check everything from your phone. If T-Mobile's merger with Sprint closes, the new T-Mobile will have the ability to build on its foundation by adding critical mid-band spectrum for far-reaching coverage and performance, as well as additional millimeter wave spectrum. How very interesting. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below if you're watching the replay, or let me know in the chat room. Thank you guys so much for joining. As always, I really appreciate you spending your time here. And a few things to be on the lookout for. Obviously, okay, so the 5G stuff with the T-Mobile and Verizon. Alright, so I know a lot of you guys know this already. My lighting is horrible, I'm sorry. I'm just in chill mode today, but I know a lot of you guys know this already about, facial recognition and 5G and AI technology and all this, but let's break it down a little bit in case there are people watching that don't, that are new to this whole thing, because there's always people that are learning this for the first time. So 5G is different than 4G in that it can cover an area more densely. More people can be on a network at a time, meaning something like facial recognition, where you have to, be tracking a bunch of people, and you have to have the system paying attention to all these different things and a lot of data going through, and it's not necessarily going to be far-reaching data, but it's, heavy packed data in one area. 5G is better with that than 4G. So these companies are, pushing the 5G and everything in the urban areas. And we see it being pushed in the Super Bowl because they're wanting to make it all super cool and super high tech for people. But if you haven't been watching our channel for very long, then you might have missed a recent stream that I did on a congressional hearing. Actually, it was a House of Representatives hearing on facial recognition. And there were quite a few concerns raised in that about how private companies are using this 5G data and technology and using facial recognition without any kind of notice to the customer or without them even having the ability to opt out. So it's becoming a situation in which these companies are maximizing on pretty much you just going about your everyday life and then them tracking you, which doesn't seem like it would be, oh, the government always tracks us, and oh, Google tracks everything you do anyway, so what's the big deal? But they're using this data to try to target you in other ways and to try to make measurements of our society, which it doesn't even work to do. So if you missed the hearing on facial recognition, then please go back and watch that, because they don't just talk about facial recognition. They kind of talk about how data like that can be used against people, and in very serious manners too. So another thing that we see happening with this Super Bowl in particular is that the CBP and the ICE are being very, very involved. And in my opinion, Trump has been very against illegal immigrants and stuff, and I'm sure that they're going to use this as an opportunity to snag people if they can. Now, CBP is also in charge of taking care of a lot of counterfeit goods, so that's another reason why they are being so involved. But I know there are a few other truthers that have talked about, some of the suspicious things that are going on with this. I know not everybody in the Fugle fam, watches Iggy. I watch Iggy and be something, I don't remember his number thing, but he did cover some of the kind of what he thinks is going to happen with the Super Bowl and some of the symbolism and stuff behind it. And it was a very interesting stream. I didn't get to watch all of it, but there's a lot of people, not just him, but he just came to mind because his stream was last night. But there's a lot of people talking about how different kinds of sports events are really laying heavy into the imagery, and a lot of people think that it's, kind of trying to push certain buttons in people and also trying to track people. So that's kind of the background on that, for those of you that aren't aware. And okay, let's go and get back to our CBP stuff that we're going to go through. Because this is kind of, to me, this is how it all connects. Now, this has to do with counterfeit gear. And the CBP, as I said, they do deal a lot with the counterfeit items that are coming over the border and being sent through the mail and all that kind of stuff. So these in particular were counterfeit merchandise seized during the National Football Conference Championship game in Santa Clara, California, January 19th, 2020. Agents and Homeland Security investigators from the San Francisco area recovered more than 230 counterfeit items and a manufactured suggested retail value of over $7,000. They did another huge bust with counterfeit sports goods recently too. Last year, collaborative enforcement efforts led by HSI and CBP resulted in the seizure of nearly 285,000 counterfeit sports-related items worth an estimated $24.2 million. My goodness. So I'm not going to go through this whole article. I mean, I think we all know, what counterfeit goods, like what that means and everything, and sometimes it can be very hard to spot. But the NFL, like the real gear, is so expensive. So you try to look for a deal and then you just end up getting counterfeit stuff. So because they are concerned about this, they have been amping up. Here we go. They've been amping up CBP and ICE action. Okay, U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers from the Port of Savannah, Georgia, have deployed to help secure Super Bowl in Miami, Florida. In addition, Atlanta Field Office Special Response Team officers are on duty in Miami area law enforcement to assist with safety and security at key locations in southern Florida. Savannah CBP officers are collaborating with other local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies to ensure the security of the game through the usage of non-intrusive inspection of vehicle equipment. This equipment will be used to perform on-site inspections of vehicles making deliveries by obtaining X-ray images of the contents inside the vehicles. And then it goes on to say they're honored to work alongside the local people. So that's not a very long article, but I did find another one where they go into even more detail. And if you can see it, there's a picture here of some helicopters. It says UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters assigned to the CBP Air and Marine Operation patrol the airspace in advance of Super Bowl in Miami, January 27th. The atmosphere is electric with anticipation. It's a day the team has prepared for all year. Some of those involved have waited their entire lives to be part of this big game. It'll be an all-out effort for everyone, laying everything on the line for a game plan that includes a defensive front in the air, on the ground, and even in the water. Oh, it doesn't sound like they're talking about the football teams, huh? It's the build up to Super Bowl Sunday, but the team isn't the San Francisco 49ers or Kansas City Chiefs. It's Team CBP. Taking the field in Miami and the entire South Florida region, doing what it does every day, safeguarding America's borders while enabling legitimate trade and travel. Sabatino and the team of approximately 150 officers, Border Patrol agents, and air and marine agents at the game will play many roles. Air crews will patrol the skies and enforce a no-fly zone around the site. Interceptor boats will ply the warm waters off the coast, and X-ray equipment operators will scan the thousands of personal vehicles and trucks bringing people, goods, and equipment into the venues. Border Patrol agents will augment local police and sheriff department officers, and CBP specialists will watch out for counterfeit merchandise ranging from fake jerseys to Super Bowl rings. Others have been training local law enforcement and working to stop human trafficking, which many times can end in innocent victims being sold into the sex slave trade. CBP's law enforcement personnel do all this while still carrying out their primary mission of protecting America's borders. The gargantuan effort began 2 years ago and increased in intensity last year with careful coordination between CBP and a host of federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. They've been preparing for this for 2 years. The first time you engage with someone can't be the day before the event or when something happens. That speaks volumes to the partnerships we have down here in engaging so early. The locals really rely on us. Between the two, they'll be able to provide video footage to all the command posts around the city, providing real-time information that's critical when an incident takes place. So they are having video surveillance between all of them. And remember, 5G everywhere. So they are definitely going to be depending on that 5G. Who are the first people in their minds when it comes to stuff like that? It's us, because of the history, capabilities, and partnerships previously built up. About 1,000 miles north, the planners in Washington are getting information from those on the ground in Miami. One or more valuable methods for communication is WebEOC, a secure internet-based virtual emergency operations center. So again, relying on 5G. What were to happen if all of a sudden that went down? In addition to sharing information, emphasis on that, we can better understand the nature of the request, how to meet it, who is best to act on the request, and ensure all the important information is communicated to get that request met. Remember though, you guys, we have seen in the news not that long ago about law enforcement that's trying to use private sector facial recognition or cameras and other stuff to try to combat crimes and to try to figure out who did what, and it did not work. There have even been some of our representatives and congresspeople that have been falsely identified by facial recognition technology. So again, if you missed that hearing on facial recognition, go ahead and watch it because it was very interesting and enlightening. Okay, so the air and water part I found specifically very interesting. Everything's always interesting to me. CBP is well positioned to offer its core of defense backs and safeties. Assets in the air and on the water in Miami include more than half a dozen helicopters, planes, and numerous boats. Make sure you guys. Okay, sorry. UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters will help enforce a no-fly zone. The AS-350, better known as A-Star helicopters with high-tech cameras, will send real-time video feeds back to those command vehicles that he mentioned, as well as to the headquarters to make sure everyone can see and share what they see with the appropriate responders. If a threat is detected, some of the choppers and boats will transport and drop in special response teams to the scene at a moment's notice. CBP's air and marine operations capabilities are pretty unique to law enforcement organizations. So if anything happens, they're just going to go ahead and drop some soldiers in there. CBP's ground defense is led by its own version of the Front Four, Border Patrol agents. These are men and women who get down in the trenches to work with other local, state, and federal law enforcement partners to put out a defensive front line. Nearly 20 additional Border Patrol agents went to South Florida from around the country to beef up the security posture. And down here, this is a picture of a gigantic X-ray machine that they used to look inside vehicles. Isn't that fun? Peering into the offensive backfield to read what the offensive might try to do is a bit like CBP's Office of Field Operation is doing. Thousands of vehicles that carry the food, souvenirs, high-definition television equipment, and fans are being brought into the Super Bowl stadium area. To make sure none of these vehicles and trailers have anything in them that's not supposed to be in the area, CBP uses large X-ray machines to scan the trucks and containers in a matter of seconds. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but of course it's linked down below. If you want to see this, this is from cbp.gov. All of these are from the actual government and T-Mobile and actual websites from the source. But this little picture down here it looks just like a giant freestanding gateway. It doesn't even look like some kind of crazy super big machine. It looks like a gigantic gateway that you can drive through. And so it's a giant X-ray machine. So that's fun. And stopping human trafficking, again, that's a very good reason for, excuse reason, however you want to word it. They're going to implement facial recognition because of that, because that way you can look back and see, oh, well, this person has gone missing, and when they were at the game, which was the last place they were seen, who did they arrive with, who did they leave with, and you have to be able to track that face quickly over the entire area. So, again, hashtag 5G. And last but not least, our Department of Agriculture wrote this charming little article about how to be safe during Super Bowl time, preparing food and stuff, and it's very sports themed. So that's linked in the description box down below as well. But I wanted to bring this up because I just watched a video by Florida Maquis, who is another good YouTuber. I know, again, not everybody in the Fugu fam and the Snafu crew likes, Florida Maquis, but whatever, I do. And the video that he just put out actually had to do with, in Miami, the food trucks and stuff, and the fact that coronavirus, obviously, that's a thing that everybody's concerned about right now, but norovirus actually pops up in Florida occasionally, and especially in places where there is not safe habits with food. And so he was talking about the gigantic influx of people that are going to be going to Miami and how the food could possibly be unsafe. And so I thought that that was very interesting that they then sent this notice out, the USDA did, about keeping safe with food during the Super Bowl. So if you don't know basic food safety measures, regarding like keeping different kinds of food separate and what temperature to cook them to and everything, this article actually does go through quite a bit of it. So again, it's linked in the description box down below. This is basic knowledge that we should all kind of just know nowadays. There's a lot of sickness and illness and stuff that can be totally avoided just by preparing food the right way. So, you could print it off and take it with you to any kind of Super Bowl gathering that you're having today or whatever, so that your friends and family know as well, and you can keep everybody safe and healthy, so that way you can keep enjoying more sports fun times. Alright, so let's do some shout outs here. Let's see if there's... Oh, my kids are gonna come see me. Are you jumping? Oh my goodness. My son just came in and just started jumping. Okay, so it doesn't look like we have anybody in the chat room. Of course, I didn't think that there would be anybody in the chat room. Everybody's getting ready to watch the Super Bowl. And here I'm trying to stream something about the Super Bowl. Everybody just wants to watch that. So, that's okay though. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to get out of the way and show you guys quickly. I don't think there is. Alright, so thank you guys though. I know you guys will probably watch the replay on this, so thank you so much, and let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I really want to know, do you guys think that they're going to be, tracking people during this? Do you feel more safe with these security measures and this stuff implemented, or do you, feel less safe? During the facial recognition hearing, some of the representatives made the point that when you have these cameras and you have all this extra law enforcement and everything, it actually sends the message to people that there's bad stuff happening in that area and that they should be more wary of their surroundings, not that they should feel more comfortable. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. I kind of agree with that view. If I see a whole bunch of cameras around and stuff, yeah, I don't feel all that comfortable. It doesn't make me feel any more comfortable seeing my face on the gigantic TV screens at Walmart, knowing that they're watching me. That's for sure. Alrighty, well, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I'm going to try to split this stream up into some smaller shareable pieces, so keep an eye out for that. And make sure that you subscribe if you're not subscribed yet by hitting that big red subscribe button, and turn on bell notifications. That way you get notified when we go live and schedule live streams and all kinds of good stuff. And you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at growtheinfo, and on our website growtheinfo.com you can find all kinds of good information and resources and good stuff. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you all have a wonderful evening.